Well, hey, good evening, everybody. It's Joe Licciardi coming to you live from Temecula, California, and it's a hot one. As you can see, I decided to take a trip to Hawaii. That's why I got the cool background, so I could feel cool here. How you doing, Karen? Hey, everybody, welcome to tonight. And I always get these inspirational thoughts, of what can I do to help, brand partners and just not only about building a business, but it's really, as I've said many times, network marketing truly is about personal development. And I believe that the more you can grow, the more your finances grow along with it. So tonight, I struggled with how I was going to title this because I wanted to be proper in how I said it. But as the title reads tonight is From Your Heart, Head to Your Heart, the most important 18 inches you'll ever come to know. And, if you stop and think about that one for a moment, it can be kind of confusing. And so tonight, as I go through my training, I'm going to try to, um, separate the two so you can understand how, our head and our heart, they're, one body, but totally, they work totally different than, how they're supposed to work in life and in business. So, this first, I was looking for some slides here, and the first one I found was it's this little caption that says, I'll wait for it to come up. Smansky, go ahead. There we go. The hardest battle is between what you know in your head and what you feel in your heart. Think about that for a moment. I mean, that's not just business. That's truly life. That's relationships. That's everything. That's family. That's everything. The hardest battle is between what you know in your heart, and know in your head, and what you feel in your heart. So there's a whole battle going on this whole time between the two. And if you think about throughout our lifetime, I mean, we've heard, we've heard all these different sayings like, oh man, you have a lot of heart, or you have no heart. How can you be that way? Or it's all in your head, Joe. Come on, man. Or you're just a head case, right? If you're living, breathing right now, you've heard all these different sayings throughout your lifetime, and in fortunately or unfortunately, a lot of times when we think with our head and not with our heart, sometimes we make the wrong decisions in life. And so I'm going to go through it tonight. I don't know if you've ever stopped to think, this 18 inches between our head and our heart, that it's really the most important inches you'll ever come to know, right? It sounds kind of strange, but, I'll see if I can put this all into perspective because when you stop and think about it, the proximity of these two body parts, right, and how they really control our entire life, right, our entire way of being, our situation wherever you're at today, it's been controlled by our head and our heart. And 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 if you can, I hope tonight that I'm going to encourage you to, the next time that you come across to face a major decision, I'm going to hopefully that you'll be able to think or feel a little differently about, am I thinking with my head? Am I making a decision with my head, which is usually the emotional decision, or am I making it with my heart, with the heart which truly comes out of, from the depth of our souls, and out of our heart will come truly who a person really is. It's not really the head. And if you can come to understand the difference between these two, you can create a massive success in life. But if you fail to understand the level of importance of these two, you can truly, you know, your life can go a different way. So let's get started with your head. So obviously, I always like to find out what does the dictionary say, and I'll kind of preference ahead of time. When I looked up heart, it didn't give me what I wanted, but let's start with the head. It says here the upper body, the upper part of the human body, or the front or upper part of the human body of an animal, typically separated from the rest of the body by neck, and containing the brain, mouth, and sense organs. The head is regarded as a location of intellect, imagination, and memory, and aptitude for tolerance of. You see, our head is how we function in all aspects of our life and where all of our thoughts come from. And whether those thoughts are positive or negative, good or bad, they come from our head. And the thing with that, and I've taught on this, many times, you've heard me talk about it, is that when we start having this prolonged way of thinking, right? This prolonged way of being, what happens is it ends up changing our it changes our space and whether that is our thoughts are positive, we have a positive environment, or if our thoughts are negative, we have a negative environment. And that all really comes from how we think. It's how we think about our life. It's so important when we're talking about our thoughts and how we control our thoughts. you know it's how life goes about. Let me just say this, so for many, when we think about our thoughts, because most of us on this are, we're in our whatever, we're getting older, changing can be one of the most difficult things in life due to the habits that we've created. So, I'm in my 60s, right? So I have 63 years of life forming habits. What kind of habits have I created? And how difficult are those habits that we've created over this our life? And when you think about in terms of setting goals or going after our dreams, the biggest obstacle is always right here. And a lot of times when we're going after our goals and our dreams, it's the way we have been brought up or the way we've been thinking or whatever has happened in our lives. It's what really dictates how we attack those goals and those dreams, because as it says here, the heart wants what the head won't let us have. The heart wants what the head won't let us have. And even though our heart desires something, in order for us to receive that which we desire, it will come by the way of our thinking. And that might be a little confusing. I'm going to have to read that myself again. Even though our heart might desire something, right? In order for us to get there, to receive that which we desire, it's going to come by the way of our thinking. You see, the heart desires more to be more successful, to be a diamond in Hulsa. But unfortunately, the heart wants what the head won't let us have, right? It stops us. And you're probably saying, well, how's that? How's that possible? Well, you see, our head is where all of our sensory organs are, and that's where all of our thoughts, conscious, subconscious thoughts go. And whatever whatever we're thinking about, right? Whatever our thoughts are, they become actual things. So our prolonged way of thinking, right? Our prolonged way of thinking is what causes us to not get to our goals. It's such an important part to understand. And unless your head and your heart are on the same page, your desires will never come into fruition. And it is through our thoughts that create our environment that we live in, as I just mentioned. Every time you possess a negative or positive thought, you are creating your environments. It's just plain and simple. And it just stay with me, everybody, on the heart and the head thing. But our head is what really can get the ball rolling in the right way, or not. And as you've heard me say this before, whatever you become, that which you think about most. That's true. You become that which you think about most, and our thoughts become things. Whatever you think about, you bring about. If you could only do one thing, everybody, if I could just teach you just to do one simple exercise and then change the way that your thoughts patterns have been, it would be to learn to control your thoughts. If you could just do one thing, learn to control your thoughts, I can guarantee your life would be amazing. I said guaranteed. Yeah, that's right. Because how many, they said the average person has over, no, it's like 60,000 words we speak. I mean, but our thoughts are always perpetuating. If I get the number, it's an astronomical amount of thoughts that go through our mind. So let's just put a number. Let's say we're having over 100 thoughts per day, 100,000 thoughts per day, 100,000 thoughts per day. What if those 100,000 thoughts per day, that 85% of them were on the negative side, right? And negative can mean anything, I'm not good enough, I'm not, or I shouldn't have done whatever. Just negative 85% of the negative thoughts, because we live in a very negative world, unfortunately, right? So what if your thoughts were 85% negative? What if you switched that around and you had 85% positive thoughts, right? What if you had 85% positive thoughts and only 15% negative? What would be more profound in your thought pattern, right? It would be the positive side of that thought. So that's why I say, if you can control your thoughts, you can truly control your life, and your life would be different. You might be asking yourself, Joe, how do you know this? How do you how do you know all these things? Well, I wasn't always this way. I really wasn't. And when I look back, over my career, I've always been a pretty positive thinker, but in 2007, when I had my big success in network marketing, right? And then remember, I was a seven-time loser. Truly, I was a seven-time loser. And so what I'm talking to you about right now, I know, because this is what helped me to make millions of dollars. And I believe back in 2007, any company that would have come across my path at that time, I would have been a success at, for sure. You see, it wasn't the company that was that brought me the success. It was my mind shift. You see, it was the desires of my heart overcame the weaknesses of my mind. Let me just repeat that. It was the desire that came out of my heart that truly overcame the weaknesses of my mind. And you see, I learned to control my way of being, my way of thinking, my way of failing, and not allowing the negative thoughts to control my mind. It was truly a way of thinking. See, prior to that time in 2007 in June, I cannot tell you how many hours every single day retraining my brain. I was doing everything to retrain my brain. Every time I had a thought, was that a positive, negative thought? Every time I spoke a word, was that a positive thought, a positive word, or a negative word? Every time that I did things, I learned to control. In every action, I said, "Am I acting with gratitude? Am I acting in a positive manner?" Because see, everything I wanted to do, I wanted to make sure that I was creating this positive energy around me. And I'm not getting way out there. Please stay with me. I'm not, I'm just telling you, I wanted to create this positive energy environment around it, because, you know the saying, like attracts like, right? Like attracts like. Successful people can attract more success in their life because that's what they attract. Negative people, what do they attract? They attract more negative things. How many times do you hear people say, well, this always happens to me, or blah, 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 blah. It's because that's what they're putting out to the world or to the universe. If you can control your thoughts, if you can control every word, or at least aware of all your words, if you can think about every action you have, things would be different. I'm just reading here at the bottom, and I gave these notes to Spencer the last minute. But here's what I want to say is that I think it's when my buddy came up to me after the 8 months of me saying no to him. He didn't really say anything different. Now that I think about it, I was just in a totally different space, and I knew that I was going to be successful in the network marketing industry. I just knew it. And I believed it was because of my way of being, my thinking, my acting, that I was able to create not only success for myself and my family, but because of this, what I was putting out there, so many people within my organization found success because of how we were all thinking together. So when you can bring a group of individuals together to think and all think the same way, you'll be success. Now, I don't know where each and every one of you are at in your life. I don't, even when we talk about Hulsa, here's what I do know. And we're going to talk about the heart here in just a second. I do know this is that your heart will truly drive you to where you want to go. And if you're not really where you want to be today, you need to say, am I thinking with my head, or am I letting my heart dictate my path? And so that's always a super important one. But before I talk about the heart, I'm going to give you just 3 simple things to do. They're real simple, that if you do them, I believe it'll help your way. It'll help to change your way of being, right? So number 1 is live with an attitude of gratitude. That's it. Live with an attitude of gratitude. Give thanks for everything and give thanks all day long. Because if you are giving thanks all day long, if you're giving thanks all day long, there's no room for negativity to come into your life or to come out of you because you're giving gratitude for everything. And you've heard me, we've trained on this before. It starts in the morning. You want to be able to start giving gratitude in the morning for the little things, right? So it's so important that if you can live with an attitude of gratitude, let me tell you, everybody, it just the world will look so much different to you. And even though sometimes it's tough, right? We live in a really tough world right now. But if you can find the little things to have gratitude about, you'll find that your life will become more pleasant. Number two, spend 30 minutes a day listening to or reading powerful, motivating material. When you do this, this will set your tone. We all got to have some guidance, right? All the things that I've learned of how to change my thoughts or how to create more success, or you know yes, I read my Bible every day, but then I go through individuals who have done things before and that have been successful, those that have done things that help you to change your thought patterns or how to accomplish your goals, or just ways of thinking. I'm always filling myself with different material that, I mean, you can go on YouTube and you can put anything in the search bar and you're going to find it, whatever it is. You'll find different individuals. I like John Asroff. I like Bob Proctor. There's so many individuals on there that you can just listen to hours and hours and hours of them. But start with 30 minutes a day. I like to start my day and end my day the same way. Number three, just become more aware of everything you say and every thought you think. Just become more aware of everything that you say and everything that you think. And I remember at the beginning of my journey, I literally would write down almost every word that I would say. I did, because I want to be more aware of my thoughts. And yes, it's tedious, but here's the thing: if you truly want to change, you have to go through a lot to be able to get that change. And so you got to be willing to do the things that most people won't do. Okay, so enough of the head. Let's talk about the heart, right? And I said, when I looked at the definition of the heart, it just didn't give me what I was looking for. And even though that's Webster's and Merriam, I looked at all of them and I was like, that's not what I'm looking for. I said, well, here's what I think, for me, and this is my definition, right? This is Joe's definition of the heart. The heart is the lifeblood of your body. Without it, nothing can flow to every part of your body. Yes or yes, right? Duh. But it's truly the lifeblood. It's the center of our being. It's where our soul is my feeling. It's our heart is where everything starts from. Number two, it makes or breaks a person in life. It makes or breaks them. They can have a heart. If they have heart, they can literally sustain anything. If they have heart, they can sustain anything. If they have heart, they can love, be sensitive and caring. And out of the heart, the desires and dreams spring forth. So that's Joe's definition. I'm sure you can have your own, but I kind of like that one better. But, as I talked about at the beginning, the different sayings, I mean, how many times have we heard, the sayings like, man, that guy's got a lot of heart, or they put their whole heart into it. You see, the heart is truly the strongest organ in the body. And that is why when we're talking about success in life, it is our heart that will get us there. It's not our head, because the heart is much stronger than the head. In life, it's our heart that will dictate our feelings towards everything. It is. It's our heart that will dictate everything towards everything in life. And it's the passion. That passion is created by whatever the heart desires, right? So some might say, Joe, no, it's the mind. And of course, you're entitled to your feelings of this, but I believe it is the heart that drives us, sustains us, pushes us. And it's our heart that dictates the passion we do everything with in life. It's our heart is where the passion comes from. You hear about, Italians or Latins, they have a lot of passion in their life. It comes out of our heart, but that's truly where everything comes from. You see, we're all made uniquely different. We're all different and uniquely made. Each of us has a different makeup of our heart. Some will say that you were born with passion in your heart. But see, I think passion is created by that which the heart desires. The more the heart desires, the more passion that comes out. The more desire, the more passion. And therefore, if you have a burning desire for something, your passion will show. And not only will it show, this is important, not only will this passion show, but it will never go away. There's nothing that can take your passion away for whatever it is that you're going after. Last week I talked about, is it a business or a hobby? Last Wednesday in life, we talked about life, we talked about business. But for those that go after, if we're talking about life, for those that go after, who treat their life or go after the goals with a hobby mentality, the passion that they first exhibit, right? Guard your heart with all the diligence. That's right, Reggie. But if you go after your goals, right, or your desires, if you go after them with the hobby mentality, that passion that everyone gets excited at first, at the end, guess what? Because it wasn't sustainable and it wasn't truly, because you're treated more like a hobby, that passion goes away, and usually ends. That passion goes away when you see the first obstacle, and therefore they lose their passion. But on the other hand, for those who treat life and their goals like a business, right? Like truly like a business, their passion that comes out comes from deep within their heart. And that is what drives them to fully execute on their desire. And once they do that, then they go after their goals with this burning desire, full of passion. They cannot be stopped. It's so true that the passion we have in life, right? it really fuels everything. And I only can, I use my story a lot, and I only because it's my story. But I realize, you know, that how I used to think. I always thought I was a very optimistic person, but I became a very pessimistic person. I was a very positive thinking person. I became a very negative thinking person. I don't know how that happened. I've always considered myself to be, pretty positive. But when I learned the techniques of how to control my thoughts, and when I learned and understood that whatever you think about, you truly do bring about, right? It's so true. Whatever we think about, we bring about. So if you're desiring success in Hulsa, is that what's filling up your mind during the day? And when I say filling up your mind, I mean your thoughts need to be geared around your goals, right? And if it's Hulsa that's going to take you to wherever it is that you want to go, are you filling up your mind with all these thoughts, positive thoughts about it? Because see, what does our mind do? Our mind will tell us, you're not good enough. You've never done it. You failed 7 times. Hello? 7 times, everybody. And I'm not tooting my horn because of the success. And I'm no different than each and every one of you that are on this call right now. The only thing I did is, number one, I had this burning desire in my heart. I wanted change for my life. I wanted change for my family. I wasn't providing my family all that I desired. And so what I did is I went through the pain and change to change my thought patterns, to change my everything that I was doing, because I had this passion, desire to be successful. I knew that was there, but I had this right here tell me you're not going to do it. You're 50 years old. What makes you think at 50 years old you're going to make it, Joe? We all have these self-talks that what we do is, if we buy into those self-talks because of our head, but don't let our heart come out, what happens? That passion goes away. That passion goes away. But I want you to understand this, and this is where I hope it doesn't get confusion. See, it's our head that creates the thoughts that are needed, right? It's our head that creates the thoughts that are needed to get us going and to help us visualize what we want. I got to read that again. It's our head that creates these thoughts, right, that are needed to get us going, to help us visualize what we want. However, it's our heart that will launch us into into that thought, and it's our heart that will keep us going. See, our thoughts, our head is what brings the thoughts into our conscious mind, right? But it's our heart that will keep fueling us and tell that subconscious mind to keep going, even though the conscious mind might tell you to stop. And so, whether you're talking about, we're talking about life, business goals, desires, or want, if you truly want to make a change, it must come from your heart and not from your head. But here's the disclaimer, everybody. You have to first understand what your head's thinking. You totally have to get a handle on what your head is thinking and control your thoughts. And once you can control your thoughts, I can guarantee you that the desires of your heart will be more profound and more overwhelming than those thoughts that your mind is trying to tell you. Right? So that's why this last slide here said you should listen to your heart and not the voices in your head. Read that again, everybody. You should listen to your heart and not the voices in your head. Gosh, there's so much more to this. I know I only went 30 minutes, everybody. But just like I said, if I can leave you with this one thought on this Wednesday evening, that our thoughts truly create our life. They do. They truly create our life, but our heart is what will drive us to get to the things, our desires. It's the heart. Control your thoughts, change your thoughts, figure that part out, and then your heart will open you up to some amazing things. Okay, everybody? Well, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate this. Next week, I'm actually going to be in Tulsa, and I'll be getting back late Wednesday. So we'll still do training, but I'll go through my training. And thanks, Lizette, hitting the head of the nail. I appreciate that. Or the nail on the head. Thanks, Diane. So I'll figure out what training we'll run next week. I'll go through my goodie bag and see which one I think is going to be most appropriate for everybody. So look, it's Wednesday. We're coming to the second half of the month of June. Get on the high horse, everybody. Get out there and talk to people. Share this opportunity. Get everybody out there to understand, hey, this is about getting to your dreams and goals, and just go out there and let your heart overtake your heart. Okay? God bless everybody. This is Joe Licciardi signing off from Temecula, California. Bye, everybody. Bye, Diane. Thanks, Reggie. See you next week, buddy. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Joe.